This is the PLUR Podcast, Episode 3. What's up, GMP gang? It's your girl, Give Me PLUR, and coming up on this episode, we'll discuss how Rave and EDM influencers balance their 9-to-5s alongside their professional and creative lifestyles, with special guest Brigitte Johannesson, aka Brigitte, all that and more on the way. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the PLUR Podcast. It's your girl, Give Me PLUR, and today is a very exciting episode because we're going to be talking about EDM influencing in general, but specifically EDM influencers, rave influencers. So I have been influencing for about 4 years myself, but what I've realized is that sometimes real life gets in the way, and it gets in the way of the fun, creative lifestyle that I would love to do full time, but because you got to pay the bills, we have to have a regular job. So I was actually inspired by this post by a lovely lady named Brigitte. Brigitte is on the phone with us now.
Hi, super excited to be here, by the way, especially talking about this exact topic because it means so much to me. And the fact that I have put something out that inspired this exact topic in you, I don't know, it's just, I've been wanting to talk to a lot of people about this and trying to balance your life, and I don't know who else would be more perfect than you, so thank you. But yeah, my name is Brigitte. Also, give me your name so I don't just call you Give Me PLUR.
So my name is Imani, but I've never actually told anybody that on here before, but
that's beautiful.
Thank
you. So how do you want me to address you, Imani?
So on the show, I think I'd like PLUR because people call me that for short when I go to raves. So PLUR is cool.
Yeah, so I'll call you PLUR. All right. So yeah, my name is Brigitte. My Instagram handle is Brigitte, that's it. You can find almost everything on Instagram. I don't do any Snapchat or Twitter. That is all of me.
That's probably for the best because that is just too time consuming. I use everything, and it takes me about like an hour to 2 hours to post everything on a different platform. It's crazy.
No, I can't. I mean, I need to be on that level. I commend you. Are you kidding me?
I need an assistant.
I'm trying.
So is Brigitte your rave name?
Okay, so funny story. Brigitte is not my rave name, but I guess it turned into my rave name. Originally, I moved to the States, specifically to Texas, my sophomore year in high school, and I, being the foreign girl who people didn't think spoke English, no one really ever talked to me, and I went to a high school with like 4,000 kids, so it wasn't a small high school, and I still yet then stood out like a sore thumb because I'm pretty tall. I'm almost 5'11". So it's not easy to
For real.
It's not easy to blend in, but so people knew I was a new kid, but they didn't talk to me. So then
But where are you from though? Where?
So I'm from Norway, Bergen to
For
be specific.
real?
Yeah.
Brigitte, that makes a
Across
lot
the
of
pond.
fucking sense. Because because you remember the first time I met you, well, the only time really, at EDC Las Vegas, girl, your body is ridiculous. Like, just straight, just
Oh my gosh.
length, legs for days.
You are
I
funny.
swear. I'm like, Norway? Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. We're a tall race, so I got that gene passed down. So yeah, I was in high school, brand new, I guess, from across the pond. At that time, I had actually moved from China, so I was a real foreign girl. And then I had this professor, one of my favorite professors. I guess she would have been a teacher, not a professor. But yeah, I had this teacher. She was my Spanish teacher for like 2.5 years or something like that. But she ended up calling me Brigitte because I guess that was like an in-between my real name, which is Brigitte or Brigitta, and then how you pronounce, or how I would tell people to pronounce it, which is Brigitte. So she found a nice in-between Brigitte.
Cute.
Yeah, and it stuck. And I was like, when I was making my Instagram account, which was not rave based or anything based, when I was trying to just think of a handle, that was the only thing I could think of.
That is
And
so
that's me
cute.
today.
That's awesome. That's a good story. That's a way better story
Yeah.
than my name. I just gave myself that
What you
name.
told me? You're like, I am P.L.U.R. Give me P.L.U.R.
That's it. Just call me Plur. That
I
is
love
awesome,
that. That's
Brigitte.
cute.
So, okay, Miss Bridget, how long have you been raving for?
I graduated in 2013, and that was also the year that, or that was, I graduated high school in 2013. That was the year
Okay.
that I went to my first rave. My first ever show was actually Steve Aoki at a
Nice.
club in downtown Houston, and my boyfriend at the time had brought me, and I was like, so what do I wear? Like, what, how is
Right.
this? What type of energy is it? Like, it's funny because I moved around my whole life, yet I never really experienced like nightlife and going out in that sense because my mom was very protective. So
Oh,
it wasn't a thing
damn.
for me to go to like concerts and live events like that. So this was totally out of the ordinary. And I fell in love right away because the energy was so intense. And EDM wasn't new to me, so to say, at the time, but it was definitely the first time that I had intentionally stepped into it and was like, all right, show me what you got. And so that was the beginning. And so I guess I've been raving since then. I had gone to that show, and then a couple months later went to my first festival here in Houston called Something Wicked. So it was around Halloween, actually around this time of the year. So yeah, it's been, I guess I haven't done the math yet. 2013, we're in 2019, 6 years. I'm getting
16
ahead of
long
myself.
years.
Yeah, 16 long years. My knees hurt. No.
Right. Shit. 6 years, 7 years, that's a lot. Either way. That's in rave years, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
it's a lot. That's what I'm saying. What
Shoot.
about you though? You were telling me that what does it feel like to get older as a raver? How long have you been raving?
I have been raving for 7 years. I counted. So I've been
Yes.
doing it since the same year as you actually. So like
Yeah.
October. So yeah, we're
Oh
we're
my
in this together,
god.
girl.
Yeah, we are. Wow, so many similarities.
I know.
Jeez.
The whole reason for this podcast, the whole reason why I have you
Yes.
on here
Share.
on this episode is because of your post. Now, you had made a post on the 7th talking about how life doesn't allow you to take multiple paths at once sometimes, and how you have your business, Blazed and Confused. It's a raver brand. You sell EDM apparel, and you have to like switch between technical thinking and your creative thinking when it comes to creating content for your followers, and how that can be like really frustrating, but you still got to do the grind. So what we're going to talk about is just like how do we deal with that 9 to 5. So
Yeah.
maybe tell us a little bit about your business and your influence, what you post, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just take it back to kind of when I first started posting anything about raving or any of that, because I guess that's where it initially started. I had always had Instagram as this outlet for my creative self, and that varied. There was always elements of fashion and some sort of photography. I also had a very intense bro era where I was at the gym working out a lot, taking pics of my food all the time. So there was always some sort of a reason for what I was sharing, what I wanted to share. And as I then, like I said, entered into this new world of EDM, I was captivated by everything, not just the music and the lights and all the superficial pretty things on the outside, but really how it made me feel and the community that I found within this scene. And so I started building my Instagram a lot more, or at least the content that I was putting out a lot more around that. I would share about, the festivals that I went to, and really nothing in depth. It wasn't like I was writing blog posts. I was really just taking pictures of my outfits. I started to make candy. I liked that. I started to design some of my own outfits and put together looks. I guess it kind of just catapulted from there. You go down a little rabbit hole, and I became infatuated with so many aspects of this scene that I could just be myself in. So yeah, so I was creating some content, and then I started to work with a few, I guess, rave wear um, designers, and in particular Rolita Couture, or Rosa.
Nice.
She had reached out to me, and that was kind of the start of really going down this festival fashion path that I was very infatuated with, because I love dressing up. I love that. And this gave me a reason to dress up and take pictures and just be the little fairy princess I always wanted to be.
Exactly.
And so I rode that wave. I did a lot of that kind of work, and that, I guess, had inspired me to want to create some of my own pieces of clothing, or some sort of article that was me, that I had made, and that I could start a business around. And I was scratching my head, I don't want to just make something. I've always done things with passion, and if I'm going to go down this creative path, obviously I'm passionate about it, but I want to make something that I would wear, or that would represent me. And so in the beginning I thought, oh my gosh, like every other girl and their mom, I'm going to make rave bras, and this is
Right.
it. I'm going to make $1 million. But I quickly realized, that was a very saturated market, and it was coming towards the end of that era in festival fashion. Mm-hmm. And so I jumped off that bandwagon pretty quickly and thought to myself a little harder, I can't physically sit down and embellish all these different articles of clothing and spend hours and hours on doing this. I need something that I can balance between, because at the time I was in college and I knew I was going to graduate at some point, and in my free time I was always working part-time jobs, making money and saving money. But so I was like, this is a hobby. I don't want to spend day in, day out doing this, but I want a creative outlet, and I want it to make me money, because otherwise I'm just spending time. And It's weird. My brain is always like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to be intentional about doing it. And I always have a reason for doing what I do. and a lot of the time, the result is, okay, how am I going to live the life that I want to live? How am I going to get there? And unfortunately, in today's world, that is economic freedom. And so how can I turn my passion into a profit? That's always been at the forefront of my mind. So I'm definitely entrepreneurial, so to speak. And so I scratched my head a little bit more, and then thought, you know what I don't see a lot of in this community is lifestyle and festival kind of wear that isn't too over the top, but isn't gaudy as fuck. I don't want to wear an eat, sleep, rave, repeat shirt everywhere I go. I want to wear something that represents the genre of music that I listen to, or the culture that I, participate in. And so I came out with Blazed and Confused, which has a lot of, I guess, house and techno influence into the apparel. So I have a lot of graphic tees. I also expanded into more bold, wild prints, so I could take a little step into more festival-based fashion instead of just lifestyle. And that's been really fun. I've started to create more accessories, and those are handmade by me.
Wow.
Which is super, super fun. I love working with my hands, but what am I going to make? And so I started buying just all these different chains and metal pieces and charms and leather, and I'm like, what can I do with all this? And I don't know, I've always been attracted to that type of look where you have a whole bunch of different textures, and they can be heavy, and they don't necessarily have to be super feminine. And I like to balance that. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to start making, I guess, garter belts out of chains. And so I started doing that, and then I started doing some belts and some chest pieces. And I haven't listed them all on my website because it's still just me exploring, but that's kind of what's, I guess, to come. I actually recently just started doing some more sewing, so I'm excited to see where
I know, I just saw your highlight. Your highlight, you made some purple pants that don't fit you.
They don't fit me, girl. I spent so long on those pants, and I was so stoked. The material was beautiful, and then I try them on, and of course they don't go over my hips. I'm like, the fuck type of rookie mistake did I make today? So I'm learning. But that was really like the conception of Blazed and Confused and how my Instagram got, I guess, partially to where it is today. In the meantime, I also picked up on this little thing called shuffling, which really just stole my heart and soul. So
you say
that was
picked
another
up.
outlet.
You say picked up on it like it's a hobby, girl. You a fucking, you a beast. Like seriously.
I love this style of dance. It has just made me the person I am today, and it's
I
it's
love
beautiful.
seeing your videos. It looks like you take your time. I love it when people actually think about where they're gonna go to record a video. Like that one video that you posted on your IGTV where you had the camera kind of canted upward. Yes, that one. Oh my God. I was like, man, this is so dope. Like your dancing was just A1. Where you were at, that was such a good shot. It had so much interaction. I really, really liked that post.
Oh,
Now,
bless you. I love that too.
I'm looking at your Instagram right now on Blazed and Confused. I like the probably playing techno. That is such a cute sticker. I think that is the cutest sticker ever. You need. I want you to
send you one, girl.
I would love one. Look, if you do any customs, I want you to put probably playing hard style, cause that's my shit.
I love that you fucking fuck with hard style. I want to give you the biggest hug right now.
I am a hard baby. And I know you do too. I know you do too because I saw your video. I saw your video of you dancing or like practicing shuffling to hard style. Because I know it's not all jump style. It's just like a hard shuffle. So,
yes, exactly.
and you were doing good.
And it reminds you of that jump style, but really you cannot keep your Running Man up at that speed. So you have to put something else in there, and it turns out to be like you'll see a lot of kicks, you'll see a lot of spins, a lot of T-stepping, and not so much just purely Running Man.
That's the one thing that I need to practice because I'm actually supposed to be, I'm trying not to say it out loud, but I'm just going to go ahead because I don't want to jinx it. But I'm supposed to be going to DEF CON 1 next year. Girl, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so freaking, like, I don't even know what to do. I actually met a friend. I know we're getting off topic, but I met a friend through another good friend. Her name is Martina. She is from Australia, and she wants to go with me because that was like the biggest thing that I was worried about was going by myself because it is camping. Also, I've never been to Europe before, so like I'm just super, super, super excited. But
I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
I've never been to any festival or rave in Europe or anywhere outside of the States, which is absurd because this is, not where I'm from, but I just never experienced nightlife anywhere else, and that is on the top of my bucket list. I cannot wait. So I'm going to live through whatever you put out from that festival and soak it all up, and especially DEF CON because Hardstyle Fest, we don't have them here in the States.
I know.
But even just from what you watch, those crowds, that energy, there is like nothing that competes with that.
Intensity. They have intensity. It's really that's why I love hardstyle because it is intimidating. Like the music, like the pace, the vibes is very intimidating, and it just gives me chills. I love it.
Yes, I have chills right now just talking about it.
I know. Let's talk schedule. So I know for myself, that's something that I know would help improve my like free time or just my efficiency with my posts. So like I create a schedule. I don't always follow it, but what helps me is that I actually have a schedule. So what I do is I set what things I'm going to post on what days, and then I try not to be too strict on time because I have a lot of stuff going on. But if I at least know what day things need to be posted, then I can be like, okay, well, it usually takes me 6 hours to record a YouTube video. I need to have it up by Monday. Okay, I'm going to do it on this day. So that's like kind of what I'm doing and what I'm currently working on, because if I could have a really hard schedule written down of what days, it don't have to be like a specific time, but what days I work on what, and then what days I post what, then I think that I'd be awesome. Is that something that you do?
I wish. Honestly, so let's see. There is really no rhyme or reason as to how I put out my content right now. I did in the past have a lot more of a methodical approach, I guess.
Okay.
And I was using apps to better understand my engagement rates, like at what period of what day, what day of the week, all those things when I had highest, I guess, engagement within my following base. And so I was always trying to put out and engage with my followers and not necessarily, all of Instagram, because I've always tried to focus on a niche. I'm not trying to put out for everyone. The content that I put out is, of course, it's for me in that sense, but I have my followers in mind, and I'm always staying true to myself. And the way that I am, I do live life very, I guess, spontaneously in that sense right now. And so I also have a lot of things going on like you do, and it's hard to be very strict with yourself and keep yourself on that schedule as far as setting aside time to schedule posts or do any of that. And so I found that for me right now in my life, it just works best that I can post as I go. And unfortunately, I end up taking a hit because I don't always get around to posting that post or creating that new content. And so I am struggling in that sense to find that balance, and I'm still working on it. However, I have always been consistent in my posting as far as staying true to me and staying true to the content that I put out. And so it's not necessarily hard for me to come up with new content. So I could, ask my friend to snap a pic for me when we're out, and that could be content. It doesn't have to be me necessarily sitting down, carving out a half a day or a whole day, unless I want to do something where I am going out and choosing a location and putting on an outfit and filming and then editing. Then those are bigger projects. And so, yeah, the one video you pointed out that's in my IG TV, that was a half-day project. Even though me dancing might have only been 10-15 minutes of my entire day, I still have to do all the prep. But, on the flip side, I'm very blessed that I have such a supporting boyfriend who's always willing to
Yes,
help.
you do. And he is so nice. He's so nice. I met him.
Nice. He's way too nice. I don't know how I found him, and he's just, super interested in, I guess, investing in hobbies that can complement each other. And so it just works. He likes to buy camera stuff and lights, and it works because I like to be photographed.
Exactly. Man, I wish my boyfriend was more into stuff like that. I just trained him good enough to trained him good enough to take my pictures on the iPhone. I can't even get him to take it with my camera. So you lucky, girl.
You're like portrait mode on.
Definitely. That's so awesome. Having support, especially in your house, a partner or a roommate that you're with who can support your dreams and ambitions and just compliment you, that is such a big help, and it helps you with that work-life balance. A couple other things that I would probably suggest to people who are trying to be EDM influencers, definitely just being consistent and just creating a schedule and getting some sleep. That's a big thing for me. I'm reading a few entrepreneurial books, but one of the things that they talk about is if you're really working hard towards your goals, you're not going to have as much sleep, but you got to find time to, because it kind of damages your creative process.
Absolutely. Yes. So recently I've kind of been a little upset about it, but now that we're talking about it in this light, it sounds better. I have been sleeping a lot more. I guess the last maybe 3 or 4 months, I work a job that's pretty flexible in hours, so I'm not having to get up and be at work at 8 a.m., but that, leaves me to get out of bed at 8, and then be at work at maybe 9:30. And so my day starts a little bit later, and so I have found that I do end up sleeping a lot more, and at least compared to my past, because in the past I suffered extremely from insomnia, and it was horrible. The only thing that really saved me, honestly, is weed. I don't know where I would be in my life without that, because I was losing everything. couldn't be myself because I was so tired all the time, and I had brain fog, and it was horrible. But so yeah, sleep definitely changed so much in my life, and as far as being able to find that balance in yourself between technical thinking and creative thinking, you have to have the rest in order to do that. You have to be able to navigate your body, your mind, how you're feeling, all those things, because it's all linked to, especially your creativity. My feelings and my emotions are so interweaved with my creativity that if I'm not listening to it and suppressing it, in the short term, I might just be frustrated that, fuck this, why am I always writing emails, why am I not doing something fun? But then in the long term, it turns into, who am I? Like, I don't recognize myself anymore because I'm not being true to those emotions, and I'm not listening to them and letting those creative juices flow.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because you had made another post about you trying to understand like who you are and what you're doing this for, like as far as influencing. I'm assuming that's what you were talking about, like just, being on Instagram. And it does come to a point where you're like, okay, is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? Like, is this worth it? I think that if your intentions are pure, then it ends up working out in the long run. And what I mean by that is when I first started influencing, my intentions were not pure. First, I was just posting just because. And then people were like, bitch, you fine. Like, you need to be a model and you need to do that. You can make so much money. And then I just kind of like, well, okay, like I'm going to try to make some money. And then it kind of morphed into like, all right, I'm just trying to see how I can get paid to do different things. And then it was kind of short-lived, because even though I loved the scene and I loved raving, my intentions were not to just share my love for the scene. It was to make money. And that's why, like, I had a few times where I wasn't posting for months. There was even one time I deactivated my Instagram and all my social media because I wasn't coming from a pure place. And I'd have to say, like, this year is when it clicked for me. When I just stopped posting, like earlier this winter, I stopped posting, and I didn't delete anything, but I had took up a new job. So my job is I sell Aflac insurance. But prior to, I was selling like whole life insurance with this other company. And I was like, you know what? I'm done with raving. I'm done with partying and stuff, because it's taking up too much of my money. And I don't think that I'm like getting anywhere anytime fast. Like, that's another thing, rushing the process, because, you know, your intentions aren't pure. You're not just, you know what I'm saying? One day I just had an epiphany. I was like looking at my YouTube channel, and I hadn't been on social media for like weeks. And one of my videos where I was giving 5 top rave brands, I was like basically listing them and why I liked them, and it was a really good video. I just like was watching it, and I realized it had over like 1,500 views, and I'm just like, damn. I like just got this certain urge of like happiness, and all the feelings start rushing back, like the pure intentions of like, I really love the scene, and I really love telling people about raving and about what it's like your first rave, what you should wear. It's easier to do that when you're in front of people, like face to face, at least for me, because I'm a people person. But my problem is that I just hadn't figured out how to articulate that through social media in a pure form, and like in a non-selfish way. So that video, though, I spent a lot of time and energy, and it actually did well, because I'm sure it helped people. Like, it actually helped people. So I feel like if you come from a pure place, and if you're really trying to help people or just share your passions, then you could be successful. And, you know, even if you're struggling with your balance, that could still offset it, you feeling fulfilled.
No, absolutely. And I love that you're a little vulnerable with me and shared that.
I hate you.
No, hey, this is good talk.
I'm open.
Seriously, though, it's good to talk about, because I wouldn't say I've ever wanted to be an influencer in any way, shape, or form in that sense, but I love to share. And so I guess I've always shared intentionally, but through like pure kindness and creativity. Like I guess I had never put a dollar sign on my Instagram up until I created my own business. And that I think is what has saved me from kind of going down this like whole, I guess, influencer tunnel rabbit hole. I have always focused on how can I build something for me, and the only way I could build something for me that was sustainable was if it was also giving back to other people.
Right.
And those people are then your customers or your followers or whatever that may be. And I was, putting out this content and people were enjoying it and they would ask me questions and I would start to engage with them and then realize that what I was putting out and what I had to say did impact people in some way. Why? I wasn't always sure, but that's fine, to each their own. But noticing that, I then realized, like, this is a dangerous thing, this tool we have, especially when you start to gain some followers and some traction there, because people are watching what you do and listening to what you say. And
it's scary.
It can be scary. And there are certain things that I have just stayed clear from on my platform because that is not what I want to associate with. Because there's, I guess, when you build an Instagram like ours, where you have some sort of influence over a niche market or population, you can't just post whatever, whenever, on whatever.
Right.
It has to be a little bit focused. And so there's certain things that I don't post about or talk about, but I have kept very true to what I enjoy. And just like you, it happens to be within this rave scene. But I have had opportunities even within the scene through, my DM or emails where brands ask if you want to work with them to do some promo on their products or whatever it may be that they have to offer. And even though it's a rave-related brand, I really do critically think, is this something that I want to share? Is this somebody I want to represent? Is this something I can stand behind and tell people that, yes, I truly would use this product on my own? And I have turned down more opportunities than I have said yes to because I just do not want to associate or be associated with certain images. And that really has lended very well to the health of, I guess, the trust I have between my followers and the content that I put out, which I think is super important in building your followers and building this community, is this sense of trust that you're not just putting things out to sell things to them. You're putting things out because, like you said, you care and you want to share that with them.
Exactly. And if you could plug your stuff too, that's a plus.
Right? That's what I'm saying. I'm like, hey, I have this audience, and I'm like, they ask me where I buy things, and they ask me, where I go to do all these services, and I'm like, hold on, I'm sending business like out of my realm of influence now. Why don't I keep them in my space?
Exactly.
Why don't I build something for them? Because they're clearly craving it. And so that, like I said, that was a reason for Blazing Confused, but also a reason for the Shuffle Circle, which I started last year in September. One of my really good friends, Tyler, who lives in Florida. Her handle is B-Girl-Dern.
I love her. She is so fucking dope. Yes, I love her.
I love her so much. But she and I started the Shuffle Circle because we realized there was a very widespread need for one-on-one shuffle lessons. Nobody was really making this a very, I guess, well-known thing. It was one-off shufflers giving some private lessons in person, but nobody was advertising. Nobody had built a website. It was all very informal. And so this was another way I could satisfy this entrepreneurial part of me and this technical business thinking. I wanted to get some real legitimacy around the lessons that she had started to give. So we together created theshufflecircle.com, which turned into a platform for all things shuffling, not just to offer our lessons, but what we had done is put together these step-by-step tutorials that are then all uploaded on our website, where you can either subscribe to them monthly or buy them one-off. But those are really also a way for us to standardize this style of dance, because there really hasn't been anything or anyone who's gone out to do that. We've all been learning on our own from videos and YouTube, but who has, gone out there and given names to some of these spins or glides that we keep seeing over and over and over again? How can we spread this style of dance further if we can't talk about it?
I like that.
So we started to give names, even if they're silly. We would give names to the movements, and we would create these step-by-step tutorials around them, and that was really the basis of how we would structure our lessons. We would have this dialogue around shuffling and the culture and really bring it to light. So it wasn't just, I'm going to watch this tutorial on YouTube and hope that I get it down. It's, I'm going to have this conversation with somebody who's experienced in this community, who has seen a variety of styles and can tell me where my strengths and my weaknesses are, and we together can focus on growing me as a dancer. So
that's beautiful. Yeah. I love that because,
you.
If the Shuffle Circle was around when I was first seeking out lessons, I'd be a motherfucking G right now, okay?
Right, that's what I'm saying. I have students who I'm like, if I had an instructor from the get-go, girl,
for real, one-on-one, forget about it. For real. But luckily, I do have the Chicago Shufflers out here, which I hope you can come to Chicago one day. You would love them. They're so dope.
I want to. It's on my bucket list. I want to go.
Come and bring your man.
All right. Sold.
For real. I think what you built is super needed. And that's something that you got to think about, too, as being an influencer, is like, what need can you fulfill? Because just everything is kind of connected, because it's like you want to be successful, you want to be rich and famous, because those aren't bad things. And luckily, if you get a chance, you can actually attain that type of success, because there's different kinds of success. But what need can you fulfill? And you get paid by the universe, or just by life and good karma, in proportion to the problems that you solve, the difficulty, the level of difficulty of problems that you solve. So I think that level of difficulty is a high one. Like, not knowing how to shuffle the steps, the names, having someone one-on-one, you definitely fulfilled a need right there. That's something that, most people struggle with as influencers, is like, how can I add value to my niche that no one else has done already? And honestly, I really loved our space because it's not really that saturated. There's so many different levels to raving that nobody has talked about or touched on, that it's still new territory, and there's so much to be gained from, so much to be learned, and so much money to be made still. Another thing that I want to talk about is being creative, in general, is just hard work. So, and sometimes it's just gonna suck. So I think that it's important to know that not every day is gonna be a good day, and you're gonna fail. That's just entrepreneurship 101. You just have to expect that it's not gonna go well sometimes, and that's okay. There's this book that I've read. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Have you read that before?
Oh my gosh, I have been wanting to read that. It's awesome. Everyone has read it. It's everywhere. I'm just slow. I'm getting there, girl. I'm getting there.
It's a really easy read, Bridget. Go ahead and get it from Amazon. It's so good. It's so good. And it just basically talks about how we're conditioned in society to be coddled and to be it's gonna be okay, and all this other stuff, all these nice words to make you feel better, and when in reality sometimes it's not okay. But that is okay. It's okay that you're struggling, or that you don't achieve a certain type of success. I don't like to say levels, maybe levels within your framework of success, but I like to say type, because everybody's idea of success is different. But definitely, that's something to just always keep in the back of your mind, that it's a struggle. And another thing that they mention in the book is that the more problems you solve, the easier the problems become. So if you find yourself being in situations in life where it's just like really, really hard. For example, let's talk about keeping your life, your creative work life balance in check. If that's a difficult problem, you just need to work at it. If you give up, you're never going to be successful. But if you just try to be innovative, figure out different ways, try new things. Every week you're trying a different schedule, or you're asking for help. Like when you do that, eventually you're going to achieve success. You're going to figure it out, and then after that, like the problems that come afterwards are going to be like bullshit. It's not going to be anything.
Yeah.
There'll be problems nonetheless, but bullshit problems.
Yeah, you've already done all the hard work figuring it out beforehand. You're right. No, absolutely. I love that as well, because this essentially just saying don't give up. You keep working at it, and you can fail and fail and fail, but as long as you are continuing to push through, and I guess the secret is to keep changing. Don't stay stagnant.
Yes, really? I definitely agree with that. Don't stay stagnant and believe in yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
That's like one of the... Okay, so I'm going to mention another book because I love reading books.
Mention the book.
Yes. If you want to be successful, y'all, you have got to read. You'll be ahead of a lot of people. Just read a book. Just read a book once a week, once a month if you can. So there's this other book called You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. You ever heard of that?
No, I'm writing the name down right now.
Write it down, girl. I'll send you the link. It's so good. It's so good. It's about, actually, this book got me out of one of the worst depressions of my life. I struggle with PTSD, and I just have like really severe depression, but lately, like I've been really, really good. A big part of that also is that I stopped drinking. But as far as, girl, I had to quit. It wasn't for me. But especially this book just like woke me up, and it made me feel like I was okay, like in that I was awesome, and that everything is awesome in life. One of the things that it talks about is just like, believing in yourself and understanding that a lot of things had to go right in order for you to exist. Think of like biology, just all these different cells and chromosomes, like all these things had to form in a particular pattern at a certain time in order for you to be born. So like you're special, and anything that you create, that you're putting out there is special, and that it means something, and that you have to believe in yourself first before, others can believe in you.
You have given me chills again. First time about heart style, second about life. I love the balance.
I love you. You making me feel
good. This is great. Thank you for that.
For sure. So I feel like this is good. I feel like we've covered everything.
Place to end off. It really takes it full circle.
Well, I'm so happy that you agreed to coming on my show. I'm new and I was nervous, but I think we did real good, girl.
Sound like it. You did amazing. We did amazing.
Yes, we did.
It's just a natural flow of energy, and that is what the listeners are going to hear, and I love that.
Awesome. Well, girl, thank you so much again. And as for everyone listening out there, make sure you join my mailer list at givemepluR.com to get the links on all my social media pages and to stay up to date with everything that I'm doing. Okay, guys? Now, if you have any suggestions for topics for the show, all you need to do is just email me at plurpodcast@givemepluR.com. All right, guys. Peace, love, unity, respect. Give Me PLUR out.